Enrichment Center regulations require both hands to be empty before any cake.
As we know, one of the main things that makes up a true game that lasts through time is the story. It complements the character development, the other things like the graphics, and all the elements that make up a game. But a good story is what will always stick with a player. And one of the things that makes up a good story for me has always been when they throw in those awesome plot twists that nobody ever saw coming, and you remember that shock factor. Well, hey guys, I'm the Video Viking, welcome to the Geek Box, and today we're going to be looking at my top 10 gaming plot twists.
Wesker?
You did a fine job, Barry.
Just as I thought.
I think you should stay away from Barry, Jill. I hear that his wife and 2 daughters will be in danger if he doesn't do everything I tell him to.
Resident Evil, one of the original masters of the gaming plot twist. In every Resi game there's something thrown in to always give you a good surprise. Well, this all started off with the very first Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 1, the leader of your team, stars that you play as one of the characters of Jill Valentine was Albert Wesker. As we discover later in the game, Albert Wesker actually used to work for Umbrella Corporation and then continued afterwards to do work for them, using you members of the STARS team as his own sort of guinea pigs to help with their experiments. Wesker gets revealed later in the game with all the things that he's doing, as well as using people as puppeteers against you to twist the elements of the game and what was happening. But it truly introduced you to what the plan was behind how they were writing the Resident Evil games, and it made a great twist that really threw it to you that the person that you thought was your leader and your greatest ally was actually working against you the entire time.
How come both Umbrella and you can intimidate him by taking his family as hostages?
One of the gaming classics, and probably the earliest game surprise that I can remember, was from Metroid, and that's obviously the reveal that Samus was actually a female. And even though it wasn't a story twist as much, it was just really fun that you could tell that they made the presumption of the time that everyone was going to be playing as a male character because of the running gun action theme. So to have that quick reveal at the end as the armor comes away that Samus was actually a female was a really good punch up in the air and a great surprise for a lot of players.
Now do you remember who you are, what you were meant to do? I cheated death thanks to you. And thanks to you, I've left my mark. You have too. You've written your own history. You're your own man. I'm Big Boss. And you are too.
Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, there are so many things I could have picked from the Metal Gear franchise. I had to pick this one in the end. It was between that or the surprise with Frank Yeager in the first Metal Gear Solid game. But we get the reveal at the end when we replay the first mission from 5 called Truth, where we find out the fact that the entire time you have not been playing as Big Boss, and the fact that the real Big Boss left at the start of the game and you've been playing as his doppelganger to distract the world in the meantime from what he was doing. Putting the twist in as well of you are the real Big Boss because we are both Big Boss, and actually setting up for how Metal Gear 1 and 2 could have actually taken place with Big Boss dying twice. For me, it felt like a bit of writing genius as a huge Metal Gear fan, and even people that suspected it from the start of the game with what happened at the scene of End of Ground Zeroes. It just still threw everybody through the loop, and it showed that you can write a perfectly well written game plot twist and it will land the mark every time.
Charles, come, stand. Do you swear to uphold the principles of our order and all that for which we stand?
I do.
And never to share our secrets nor divulge the true nature of our work?
I do.
And to do so from now until death, whatever the cost?
I do.
Then we welcome you into our fold, brother. Together, we will usher in the dawn of a new world, one defined by purpose and order. Give me your hand. You are a Templar. May the Father of Understanding guide us.
May the Father of Understanding
guide us.
Wait, what?
Assassin's Creed is not a stranger to throwing in plot twists. In fact, I think they love doing it on purpose. But for me, the one that got me the most was in Assassin's Creed 3 with the aptly named achievement, How's Them Apples. Starting off the whole of Assassin's Creed 3 playing as Haytham Kenway, you go around collecting people that you want to join you in the new world of America and banding together your own group. Getting ready to what believed to be the original assassins that started off the Order in North America. In the very last scene before it takes you away to turn you into Connor, it reveals that the fact that you have been a Templar and been collecting the Templars that you'll be fighting against the whole game. As story writing goes, I think this was one of the best examples ever of how to create the atmosphere and the shock factor of a plot twist.
Very much for you to be controlled by a magic space wizard so that you can murder me. So there's your answer. I'm sick of being a goddamn pawn. I thought it might be different with you. I mean, you're my father, but turns out you're no better than the fucking Templars.
Don't you ever equate me to those bastards again. You hear me? Everything I do, everything I have done, has been for you. What you once were, Revan. Recognize that you were once the Dark Lord, and know that I have taken your place.
Darth Revan is probably one of the most celebrated plot twists, probably because of the size of the Star Wars franchise. In Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, you play the entire game as a Jedi Padawan, making your way up until you are a Jedi Master to be able to face the Sith themselves. Just to find out towards the end of the game that the legendary Darth Revan that you've been hearing about throughout the entire game, that was the previous apprentice for the Sith, actually was you before you got amnesia and then got turned by the Jedi into becoming one of their Padawans instead. The way it's laid out so beautifully is you get little hints here or there, but there's nothing to ever concrete in your head. So when that big reveal comes, and then followed by the fact that you get the choice of whether you want to remain a Jedi or go back to your Sith ways, that is what layered this as one of the most iconic Star Wars games of all time.
Must rule if we are to survive. You knew I would one day challenge you for supremacy, but you underestimated me. I acted sooner than you expected and seized the Sith throne with a single brilliant stroke.
In the end, what separates
a man from a slave. Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys.
Bioshock must have one of the most infamous plot twists that people have loved so much over the years. The fact that as you go through the game, you are hearing the voice of Andrew Ryan repeatedly, going through and hearing "Would you kindly," and thinking nothing of it apart from it just sounds like good old-fashioned polite manners. Then to find out when you're face to face up in the office, the fact that you actually have been whopped the entire time and brainwashed, and that phrase has been controlling you, and that you find that a slave obeys. It's one of the most well written, in your face, right in front of you, but you couldn't see it the whole time plot twist. And what makes this so good as well is the fact that they build it up for the entire game. And the first time you play it, you are completely oblivious to the fact that it's right obviously there, that he said it in between every single time you're asked to go and do a mission that you have to do. So as story writing goes, they absolutely nailed it with that one simple line.
Get this, would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run!
You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been... It's good to finally meet you, after all this time. It's me. I am Sean. I am your son.
This is one I have to give Bethesda so much credit for. You play through Fallout 4 and they don't make it feel or make you think at any point that more time has passed. They do it so spot on that you believe you're still looking for a child throughout the entire game. And when you meet Father, the leader of the Institute, some 60-year-old man, it does not pit you for a single moment, I find, until it's actually said to you that you're actually talking to your son, who is now older than you. Sean being revealed as the father, or vice versa, if you prefer, it's just one of those kick moments where it shows there's a lot of things in Fallout 4 that people were dismayed by, that they didn't get what they hoped for out of that game, but that reveal was one of the best things that I've ever seen in a Bethesda game, because it proper just took you back and made you just go, what? It was just done to perfection, the way it's laid out. And like I said, the fact that they can get you to get there and not have a clue beforehand is just brilliant.
Have made great strides in synth production, but it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being, walking...
Final Fantasy VI, the last of the old 2D Final Fantasies, and as far as I'm concerned, one of the very best. And one of the reasons being is because of Kefka destroying the world. Now, the reason I put this in as a big gaming plot twist is the fact that up to this point, and even to now, how many games you actually think of where the planet you're on actually gets broken or destroyed by the bad guys. You normally play the entire game to stop the bad guy from being able to destroy the planet for their evil means, whereas in 6, halfway through the game, he does it. He shatters most of the planet and leaves everything absolutely ruined, and you miss a year of the game because you're unconscious, and then you come back to it. But the fact they put that in there, I remember being so shocked when he actually managed to do it, because they just never put that in the game before, so, from what I'd seen. So that definitely had to be one of my top ones.
Good. No need for you to go just yet. It's been a long time, Snake.
Now, this is my continuation where I had to pick against one of my own rules. As I mentioned earlier, as I was writing this list, Metal Gear Solid was a really difficult one because there's so many in there I love, so I decided to put one other one in. And that is that Big Boss is alive in Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, obviously you've played to the entire series, and the fact is that Big Boss is dead. That's a fact of matter for Metal Gear Solid 1. So to find out at the very end credits in 4 that he was alive and then he dies was such a good twist. I just remember hearing that one, actually you see his name in the credits and then you just hear that line afterwards in his voice. And I remember fanboying out completely over it. So I had to break the boundaries a bit, but for me that was one of the biggest plot twists that they ever dropped into the series.
Let it go, my son. I'm not here to fight. Or should I call you brother?
One of the most infamous plot twists, if not the most, that I had to put at the top of the list was Aerith's death from Final Fantasy VII. Because everybody knows this plot twist, and also one of the main characters actually being killed and staying dead was a huge surprise for so many people that I had to put it in at the top of the list. It was the one that even today it's still talked about, and there's still people trying to find out if there was ways you could get around it, or if there was another ending written and things like that. But Aerith's death definitely was the big shock factor for anyone that played Final Fantasy VII. Even travelling further down the game, when you realised that she was not coming back, that she was actually dead and gone. So especially after you put all that work in to get her levelled up, and then she got killed by Sephiroth like that, it was a proper kick in the gut. So that had to be the topper for this list. Well, thanks for watching the video, guys. Let me know what your favourite gaming plot twists were in the comments down below, and if you liked that video, please feel free to hit the like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to keep you up to date on all the latest content on the channel. Well, as always, I'm the Video Viking here on the Geekbox. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you all out there.